Martial arts history. Official reports concluded that he died from cerebral edema, a swelling of the brain, but questions never truly disappeared. Over the years, theories have ranged from medical complications to more unusual explanations. What keeps the story alive is how unexpected it all was. Bruce was young, strong, and at the peak of his career. When someone like that is gone overnight, people naturally look for deeper answers. Recently, Chuck Norris shared his personal thoughts, not as speculation, but as someone who knew Bruce beyond the spotlight. His reflections didn't aim to create drama, but rather to add perspective to a moment that shocked the entire world. A friendship beyond competition. Despite what many fans once believed, Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee were never true rivals. Their connection was built on mutual respect and shared passion for martial arts. They trained together, exchanged ideas, and pushed each other to improve. Their famous fight in Way of the Dragon may have looked intense on screen, but behind the scenes, it represented collaboration rather than conflict. Chuck often described Bruce as both disciplined and surprisingly playful, a man who balanced seriousness with humor. Their bond was rooted in understanding, not ego. This makes Chuck's later reflections on Bruce's death feel more personal than sensational. He wasn't speaking as a distant observer, but as someone who had seen Bruce's lifestyle, habits, and pressures up close during those final years. The final days in Hong Kong. On July 20th, 1973, Bruce Lee was in Hong Kong working on what would become Game of Death. That day started like many others, filled with meetings and creative discussions. But by evening, things took a tragic turn. Bruce complained of a headache and was given medication to help ease the pain. Later, he lay down to rest and never woke up. The official explanation pointed to a reaction to a common painkiller, but the simplicity of that conclusion left many unconvinced. Chuck Norris, reflecting years later, suggested that the situation may have been more complex, not mysterious in a dramatic sense, but possibly misunderstood. He believed that what happened wasn't about one single cause, but a combination of factors that came together in a dangerous way. The theory of a harmful combination. According to Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee had been dealing with ongoing physical strain, including back pain from previous injuries. Like many athletes, he likely relied on medication to manage that discomfort. Chuck suggested that the medicine Bruce took that night may have interacted poorly with substances already in his system. This wasn't framed as blame or accusation, but as a possibility grounded in real-life medical risks. Even today, doctors warn about mixing medications without fully understanding how they interact. In Bruce's case, Chuck believed that this combination may have triggered the fatal swelling in his brain. This perspective doesn't necessarily contradict the official cause. It adds another layer to it. Instead of a single explanation, it paints a picture of how small, everyday decisions can sometimes lead to unexpected consequences. Other explanations over time. Bruce Lee's death has also been revisited by modern researchers. In 2022, some experts propose that his condition might have been linked to extreme fluid imbalance, a condition sometimes called water intoxication. This theory suggests that the body struggles to process excess water, which can affect brain function. While this idea gained attention, it remains one of several interpretations rather than a definitive answer. What all these theories have in common is that they attempt to explain the same outcome using different angles: medical, environmental, or physiological. Chuck Norris's view fits within this broader conversation. He didn't claim to have absolute proof, but his perspective carries weight because of his closeness to Bruce. It reminds us that sometimes understanding the past means accepting uncertainty rather than forcing a single conclusion. Chuck Norris, a life shaped by struggle. Long before these reflections, Chuck Norris had his own journey marked by hardship. Born in a small Oklahoma town, his early life was filled with financial struggle and instability. His father's absence and personal challenges left a deep impact on him, shaping his sense of responsibility from a young age. He wasn't naturally confident or athletic. In fact, he described himself as shy and unsure. But those early difficulties became the foundation for his later discipline. Joining the military gave him structure, and discovering martial arts gave him direction. Over time, he transformed not just physically, but mentally. His story is one of steady growth rather than sudden success, built on persistence and self-belief. That background is important because it explains why he values truth, reflection, and personal accountability so strongly today. Rising through determination. Chuck's success in martial arts didn't come easily. Early in his competitive career, he faced repeated defeats against skilled opponents. Fighters like Joe Louis challenged him in ways that exposed his weaknesses. Instead of quitting, Chuck studied those losses carefully. He adapted his style, blending traditional techniques with modern strategies. This willingness to evolve became his greatest strength. Eventually, he rose to become a champion, earning titles and respect across the martial arts world. His journey shows that failure isn't the end. It's often the beginning of improvement. That same mindset carried into his acting career, where he built a reputation for authenticity. Unlike many action stars, Chuck relied on real skill rather than visual effects, which made his performances feel grounded and believable to audiences. From fighter to film star. After gaining recognition in tournaments, Chuck transitioned into acting, gradually building a career in Hollywood. Films like Good Guys Wear Black helped establish him as a leading man. His roles often portrayed quiet strength and moral clarity, qualities that resonated with audiences. Over time, he became one of the most recognizable action stars of his era. His success wasn't just about physical ability, it was about consistency and authenticity. He represented a kind of hero who relied on discipline rather than flashiness. This image carried into television as well, especially with Walker, Texas Ranger, where he further solidified his place in popular culture. Through these roles, Chuck built a legacy that extended far beyond martial arts. Personal trials and resilience. Behind the public image, Chuck Norris faced deeply personal challenges. The loss of his younger brother in war left a lasting emotional impact, influencing both his life and career choices. Later, his commitment to caring for his wife during her serious health struggle showed another side of his character, one defined by loyalty and sacrifice. He stepped away from his career to focus on family, proving that his priorities extended beyond fame. These experiences added depth to his public persona, showing that strength isn't just physical, it's also emotional. His willingness to share parts of his life, including mistakes and hardships, has made his story more relatable. It's a reminder that even those seen as strong figures face moments of vulnerability and difficult decisions. Remembering Bruce Lee the right way. At its core, Chuck Norris's reflections on Bruce Lee aren't about controversy, they're about respect. He consistently emphasizes that Bruce should be remembered for his contributions, not just the mystery surrounding his death. Bruce changed the way martial arts were viewed around the world, bringing philosophy, discipline, and creativity into the spotlight. His influence continues to inspire generations of fighters, actors, and fans. Chuck's perspective encourages people to focus less on unanswered questions and more on the legacy Bruce left behind. While the exact details of that day in 1973 may never be fully understood, what remains clear is the impact Bruce Lee had on the world, and the lasting respect he earned from those who knew him best.